Hi, everyone, and welcome to Miss Matchmaker Live. Thank you so much for joining us. Tonight's topic of discussion is going to be on the 5 love languages. We have a guest speaker from New Jersey, Arlene Vasquez. She is a certified matchmaker and dating coach. Arlene, can you tell us a little bit more about your background and how you got involved in this industry?
Sure. Well, I've been a matchmaker my whole life, so I finally took the plunge after many years in the corporate world and became a matchmaker. I was certified by the Matchmaking Institute, and now I work as a matchmaker and dating coach, and I created the Get Real, Get Love coaching system for women. And I'm the founder of AV Connections, a boutique matchmaking service based out of New Jersey, but we do have clients nationwide. And I'm just so thrilled to be here and to collaborate with you because I know how awesome you are, and you've been in the industry for so long. There's a lot to be learned from you.
Oh, well, thank you, Arlene. You're so sweet. And then, of course, we have Jeremiah with us tonight. Jeremiah is one of my event coordinators with me. And so Jeremiah is actually the first male client that ever came into my office knowing what his love language was. So I got to give him a lot of kudos for that. But thank you for being here, Jeremiah. We appreciate it. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm Denise Levy. A lot of people know me as Miss Matchmaker. And basically, I am a professional matchmaker going into my 20th year. And I have a boutique-style professional matchmaking service here on the Gulf Coast and do both date coaching and divorce recovery as well. One of the things that we're going to be doing tonight throughout the event is giving away a couple of 30-minute free date coaching certificates. So stay tuned for that. We'll be doing that randomly. And we do have a few other people we're waiting to join us, but I think we should go ahead and get started.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, Arlene, I know you jumped on one of our previous blabs, and that's how we kind of got you interested in this discussion, because we started going off on a little 5 love languages tangent. So that was fun. But tell me a little bit about your story behind the 5 love languages, because I know we had discussed this briefly, but it's kind of cool.
Well, it's funny, you know, I'm a married matchmaker. And so, you know, whenever I find that I'm having any kind of, I don't want to say conflict, but when things aren't going quite exactly the way they should with the husband, I start to do a lot of research because I like to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. And I was doing a little research on the love languages because I felt like there was a little bit of a shift in our relationship where, you know, I wasn't getting, my love tank wasn't being filled. And so, and I told him, I said, you know, I think something changed. And he's like, well, tell me what it is. You know, like a typical man, they're very simplistic. They just need to be told exactly what your problem is, and they're going to solve it, right? So, and of course, I couldn't put I couldn't put any words to it. And then as I started doing some research, and I was writing an article, and I had a couple of, you know, activities that I was doing around the love languages, I realized, oh my God, that's what it is. And so as soon as I was able to communicate to my husband about, you know, hey, when you and I first met, you used to do X, Y, Z, and you were filling up my love tank because that met my need as far as the love language goes. And he stopped doing that. So as soon as I was able to point it out, he adjusted, and, you know, we were back on track. So it's so huge. I mean, this is not just with your husband or spouse or significant other, with children, with bosses, with everyone, really understanding, you know, the love language, how they feel appreciated or validated or whatever. I think it will take you a long way. So, and
that's true. You've got a really good point, Arlene, that I don't think many people realize. But we as a family, myself, my husband, and my son, sat down one night and took the 5 love languages quiz. And so it was interesting because they do provide one for couples, for singles, also for teenagers. And so to be able to use that knowledge with my son really helped tremendously to build the relationship and really strengthen it, and to understand how to communicate with him, because it's not always about knowing what your love language is, but it's about knowing the people around you. And when you do realize what theirs is, you can actually learn how to speak in that manner so that they can see the love that you're giving them in the way that they interpret it.
Absolutely. And because I think also people tend to love others in the love language that they prefer. So it's really important for you to find out another person's love language in order to meet their needs.
Exactly. Right. And I'll give you another funny on it. My husband and I, actually, when we took it, you know how you get a number with each love language and the score? Ours were identical.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that told me a lot, and it made me appreciate our marriage even more so.
Wow, that just got goosebumps when you said that.
But Jeremiah, I know you've got your book right there. You want to jump in and talk a little bit about each one with us, because I know you and I share the same acts of service love. And if we want to say a few words about each one, I think that might help our listeners understand a little bit more about what we're talking about if they don't have that knowledge.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I can just kind of list what each one is first, and then we can kind of dive into each one. You have words of affirmation, quality time, gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. We'll just start with words of affirmation. I mean, everybody likes to be complimented. Yeah. Everyone likes to be complimented and told that they're beautiful, they're nice, they're good, but there's some people that actually desire that more, and that's actually like what Arlene said, it built their love tank. It makes them feel even more cared for and loved than coming from just a regular person. So
it does, and you're doing a good job, and I appreciate everything that you do, or you look great today. Any of these little things are keywords that anyone whose top love language is words of affirmation, they'll be melting.
Right.
It's simple.
Yeah. Especially me, like in the workplace, I have to know that I'm a valuable asset to the company, and that I feel like I'm actually bringing something to the team. And the only way I know that is if you're telling me that I'm doing that. If not, then I'm not really going to feel valued as an employee or as part of the team. So,
right.
In relationships, though, it's not as important for me for some reason, which is really weird.
That is different. Yeah, that surprises me.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's kind of an interesting thing that you said, because I wonder if it's possible to have different love languages for different aspects of your life. I hadn't even thought about that, because I do love words of affirmation, that being my favorite. But then my second favorite would be, touch, and I don't want to be touched at work by my coworkers. So there's the answer.
Well, actually, Dr. Chapman, who actually created the 5 love languages based on his 20 years as a marriage counselor, he does have a series for the work environment. And so he does have one book out that really talks about how you can use it in business and with coworkers and things of that nature. So I have not had the opportunity to read that, but I'm sure there's got to be some kind of scale or something that tips the difference.
Yeah. From what I understand, there's a 5 love languages book for almost every single kind of relationship setting, whether it's kids, work, spouse, pets. No, I don't know about pets. I just made that up.
But just a good one to point out too is there is a great one out that is for singles that does help you to understand dating, relationships, and other people, and clues to look for, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's next? Which one you want to cover, Jeremiah?
The next one on the list is quality time. And I mean, that's just pretty much black and white. The person whose top love language quality time is they have to spend time with the person. It doesn't really matter what it is that they're doing. They just have to be with that person, whether it be an activity or just sitting and vegging in front of the TV, binge watching Netflix or something like that. But they just have to be next to that person, and they have to feel connected with that person.
And I want to add to that, feeling connected, but also being present.
Right.
You can seriously be in the same room with someone and not feel their presence.
Oh, yeah,
And if
absolutely.
somebody is really high on quality time and they're not feeling your presence, that's almost like a knife to the heart.
Right.
It's a very sensitive subject, because if you're in the same room but you're not communicating, you're not, showing that you're being present, you're being there with that person, then they're not feeling your love.
Yeah,
So,
and it's quality conversation as well. I think kind of ties into that as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely being hindered, especially with the cell phones and everything. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I see at a restaurant sitting across from each other in this intimate session, and they're both staring at their iPhones, and it's I've taken pictures of it so many times to my friends. I'm like, this is what's wrong with us today.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. It's funny. I was at the beach one afternoon in the last summer, and we had some company in town, friends that used to live here. And at one point, there was like 5 of my girlfriends all underneath the tent with their cell phones in front of their face. And I took a picture of it, and I said, "Really?" Yeah. So what's next on your list, Jeremiah?
The next one is gifts. I think we should probably explain this one a little bit more, because I think that when people hear gifts, they think of like these lavish gifts. They think of it somebody being materialistic, and even people whose top love language is gifts, they almost get offended by this. There was a girl I dated years back, and she didn't know what it was, and hers ended up being gifts, and she was just appalled by it. She's like, "I'm not that way," blah blah blah, and I'm like, it's fine. So yeah, these people like to have things bought for them, and it's not necessarily the materialism of it, but it's the fact that you thought about them and you put the effort into purchasing something for them that you knew that they would like, or that meant some kind of sentimental value to them. Whether it's flowers or a card or their favorite whatnot, whatever. So and it's actually not a real common love language, but it is out there. It's my bottom on mine. So
Yeah, and I agree. You do have to make the distinction that it's not necessarily a financial or monetary gift. It's that you actually have put the thought into it. Yeah. If you're with someone whose love language is gifts, and you give them something that really has nothing to do with their likes or interests, you're basically telling that person you don't know them, you don't care about them. Right. So it's putting that thoughtfulness into it, and really taking the time to give them something that they will appreciate, that will show your love for them.
Right. And it's also, if your husband runs out to the 7-Eleven and he knows you like to chew a particular gum, and coming back with that gum, even though you didn't ask for it, it's like, oh my God, that's so thoughtful. Wow,
Exactly. And you're using your words of appreciation to show it words of affirmation. I love it.
Yep.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about acts of service, Jeremiah, because I know this is number one for both you and I.
Right. Yeah, this is my number one. It's just basically having people do things for you. I mean, just makes your life easier. I guess I have an old adage that was brought to me when I was young: actions speak louder than words. And so, someone can tell me how much they love me, and that'll mean something to me. But when they do something, especially something that they promised that they would do, or something that they know I don't like doing, or something like that, that's really, really big in my book. And that speaks volumes of love and care. Like I said, it makes your life easier. It's one less thing that you have to worry about in the day-to-day things that you have to do. So,
and I'll give you a real life example. I would so much rather my husband put the laundry away than tell me I'm beautiful. To me, that just means so much more. It's like, that's my language, and that's what I speak. So when he shows it to me, it's tremendous. Right. There's nothing in the world that beats that in my love language. I'm sorry, Arlene.
No, I was just going to say my husband's love language is active services. So I get that. I do a lot of stuff that I really kind of go out of my way just to make him happy. But he tries to love me in that way, and that really doesn't work because I'm kind of a control freak, so I'd rather you don't do something.
No, I love it.
We had one day, we had just moved to our home here. We moved earlier last year, and I had decided I was going to paint the door red. And, one day I come down and I'm like I'm all dressed up and ready to go. I was actually going to meet a client, and he's like, hey, he looks at me, he's like, hey, I have a surprise for you. And I'm like, oh, cool. And so he's like, come here, let me show you. So he shows me the door. He had already painted it red for me. And I looked at it, I was like, oh. And then, Ally McBeal. Do you remember Ally McBeal, that show?
Yes.
All of a sudden, I start having like this major crisis in my head that I'm trying not to voice out loud because I'm like, why did you do that? I didn't want you to do that. And this is all happening in my brain, not out loud. Because I didn't want to like come across as ungrateful. But then I realized, okay, understanding the love languages, I knew that this is his way of loving me. But I always say that if he had just looked at me and said, babe, you look gorgeous, like, where are you going? You look great. I would have been so much happier, and that would have filled up my love tank, and I didn't need any favors or any acts of service, but, that's his thing. So when you're lucky that you have the same, love language as your husband, but when you don't, you have to stop yourself sometimes and realize, oh my God, he's just trying to be loving. So I get it. Let me just accept it and, move on.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Actually, a lot of people tend to love in their top love language automatically. I think it's because of this almost mental desire to have reciprocation in the same way. So they're like, well, if I treat this person this way, then they'll treat me back,
right.
Same way. So, it definitely takes that open communication and discovering what your languages are to really be able to fulfill each other. So.
Yeah,
I agree.
This is why every time I talk about the love languages, I always have to bring up, the golden rule, right? Everybody believes in this golden rule where, is to do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. And it's been around forever, and it's in the Bible, and everybody, of course, is very well intended, but it's significantly short because obviously everyone having their own love language, having this expectation that what you want done for you is the same as what should be done for others, it's just not going to work. So I always talk to people about the platinum rule, which is treat others the way they want to be treated. And, so find out what their love language is, love them in the way they need to be loved. And it's like win-win, right? The idea is to establish, a great relationship, then, find out what that person needs. As long as it's within reason, you're good to go. So I'm a big fan of the platinum rule. Fine with the love languages.
I love it. Arlene, you had mentioned that last time, and that has stuck in my head to no end. Whenever it comes up, it's like, wait, no, not the golden rule, the platinum rule.
Yeah, let's upgrade.
We're going to upgrade a little bit here. And then, of course, the fifth one would be physical touch. And this one, like you mentioned earlier, it can be awkward to some situations because depending upon what type of relationship you're talking about, physical touch can be a touchy subject.
Yes. No pun intended, right?
Exactly. But if you're with a partner that does have a strong physical touch score, then even this, anything you can do to just hold their hands and just be there, they love it. And you can just completely see them showing their affection and their love to you based on how much you're being touched. So it's actually one of the easiest to read and one of the easiest to show, I think, but not everybody's comfortable with it.
Yeah. Because, I think so many women out there love to have a significant other that will hold hands with them. There's some people that just are not comfortable with that. But for me, I love it. I love that, my husband and I are on the way to the supermarket. He gets out of the car and he puts his hand back, like, to hold my hand. I love that. That's my second favorite love language. But then and like sometimes I meet people and we've had a long conversation, and we go to say goodbye, and I go to give them a hug, and they're like stiff, and they're like, oh, it's so uncomfortable, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it's funny because in our business, Arlene, you know, we almost naturally are huggers. You know, I don't know about you, but just about everybody I meet, I hug. It's what we do. You know, we share love. And so it's like, okay, you have to find that line between expressing yourself in a physical manner and staying professional at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but with relationships, it's very different. It makes it a little bit easier, I think, for some people, because it is one of the love languages that can be read.
Yeah, but I'm curious about, I mean, I know we're talking about the love languages, but even when people go on dates, I mean, I coach people who are single when they go on first dates. Sometimes just a simple touch of like somebody's arm. I'm not talking about outrageous touching or anything like that.
Right here.
Exactly. It's just it's I don't know, psychologically that helps to build the rapport and, you know, chemistry and everything else. So it's kind of one of those weird things that, you know, I get that touching people is not appropriate, but there's certain types of although I did have one client who went on a date, and you know, he came back and he says, Arlene, that woman's hands were all over me. It was very uncomfortable. She wasn't really my type either. I was like, oh
no. Yeah. Well, I think really the biggest point with trying to get this out there and really talk about this topic is to make it known that it's not good enough just to know what your love language is. You have to be able to learn about other people and to be able to express the kind of love that they are looking for, because it's just a breakdown in communication. And so this is a tool that I know we both use as matchmakers, and I know obviously Jeremiah has had previous experience with it. And, you know, Dr. Chapman, he's been all over the world talking about this. So there's things behind it. And I want to bring up one more that, you know, I woke up one morning and all of a sudden went straight to my laptop and just started writing. And sometimes that's just how things come out of me. So what it ended up being is an article that's on my blog site, which is missmatchmaker.net. And is it, could humor be the sixth love language?
I like that.
I just woke up and it had hit me between my son, my husband, my father, my grandfathers, all had one thing in common. They like to pick at you, poke at you, make jokes, and all in a very caring and loving manner, but they love to make people laugh. And when they are making you smile, it gives them the biggest smile in the world. And so I always wondered if maybe there was one we were missing, in that being, could humor be it?
I think that's brilliant. I mean, that's just so insightful, because I hear so many people talk about, you know, what type of person do you want to meet? Oh, they have to have a great sense of humor.
Good sense of humor. It's always one of the top 5.
Top things.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's, you know, and you're right. It's somebody, like for me, I could have a little bit of an edge or be overly serious or work too hard. And my husband's like a clown, so he's like really funny. He's got jokes for everything, and he's goofy, and it makes me laugh at myself. Like I can't even take myself too seriously. Because I'll say something, you know, ridiculous, and he'll just crack a joke, and then I'll just laugh at myself and say, "Oh my God, get over it, Arlene."
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, and I'll give you another funny. We went to my in-laws for Thanksgiving, and my 82-year-old father-in-law came to Thanksgiving dinner, walks out of the bedroom and into the living room kitchen area with his black and white polka dot tuxedo. And I was like, oh, yes! And it was his way to bring a smile to everyone's face, show a little sense of humor. And I just think that sometimes that goes unrecognized, that humor is really something that can take people maybe out of their comfort zone like you, Arlene, but into a safe realm. Definitely. If that makes sense. Yeah.
I have a daughter who's a comedian too. I have to say that's definitely her love language, to the
I
point
love it.
it's hard to raise kids that, you know, you're trying to reprimand them and they make you laugh and you have to like turn your face up because from the time she was a little kid, it was just, you know, it was ridiculous. I couldn't even like take myself serious. So I'm onto something there. You know, it's funny. I'm actually a relationship expert on WOR 710, Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. And we're going to Dr. Chapman. And I think it might be coming up in 2 weeks, so I'll let you know. But that would be a cool thing to bring up. I'll mention something like that and give you credit for it. It's really interesting.
I would love to have the opportunity to hear his opinion on that. That would be amazing.
I'm not the host, but I'll send the question over to Joan and ask her, Joan Harriman, to see if what he thinks about it, because I think that's brilliant. I think you nailed it.
Well, thank you, Arlene. So, Jeremiah, being single and dating, how do you use the love languages to your advantage? What have you learned from it, being a single guy?
You know, well, obviously the dating phase, you're just kind of feeling somebody out until you actually, you know, get to. I mean, with girls in the past, if I've gotten to that point where I thought that they were going to be serious potential partners, I would actually sit down with them and like take the test with them together, and we'd make a date out of it, which I thought was really cool.
That is a great date.
Yeah, the last girl that we did that with, we were actually backwards compatible. I was acts of service, physical touch, and she was physical touch, acts of service. That was pretty cool. But she had never heard of the book, never done, you know, any of that, and so I just kind of explained a little bit to her, and then we took the test together, and you know, we kind of had our little sheet of paper. It's kind of like a little cute couple thing. But for someone, like I said, I'm just meeting, I kind of, I guess, try to apply all of them in some fashion or form, minus the gifts. I don't really do gifts on, you know, first 2 dates because I'm not trying to buy somebody's affection or attention.
Right.
And then the physical touch one, I kind of struggle with that, you know, because I don't ever want to be accused of being that guy that comes on too strong or being touchy-feely like what you guys were talking about. In the past, I didn't have a problem with that, but, I mean, to be honest with you, my focuses were a little different than what they are now. So now I try to be a little more, you know, respectful and just more in tune with that person's needs and wants versus mine. So,
what are some of the clues that you look for to try and determine what a girl's love language is?
Definitely when I first meet them, you know, I try to compliment them, tell them how beautiful they look, or, you know, they're good. And you can kind of tell how they respond to that, if that's one of theirs or not. Some of them actually become very uncomfortable when they get complimented. They don't receive compliments very well. In fact, this last girl that I went on a date with, she flat out told me, she's like, I don't receive compliments very well. And
wow,
it's something that, you know, she knows she needs to work on, but it's something she likes to hear but doesn't receive very well. So there's a, you know, a struggle within that. So, I mean, in my opinion, if you're dating a girl, you should be complimenting her anyway. If you're
agreed.
You know, yeah, I mean, even if she's not words of affirmation, let's just, you know, but.
I like it when, you know, the words and the actions are congruent. So it's not just you're saying something and then you're also acting according to what you're saying, so that it's really solid.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And for those of you out there that don't know what your love language is, you can always go to the 5lovelanguages.com, and they have it set up to where you can put in whether you're single, married, or doing it for a child, whatever, and you can take that quiz to determine which love language you are. Thank you, Arlene. And that's in the comments there for you guys. And then also, if we've got our comment box over here on the right hand side, if anybody has any questions or wants to jump in, I'm going to go ahead and open up a seat. I know we were having some people try to call in earlier, but I didn't want to disrupt the flow. So if anyone has any questions or comments, you can either jump into that open seat, just click on the circle there, or you can go ahead and type in your question in the comment side. Arlene, do you teach people love languages in your matchmaking practice? Is that part of your coaching process?
Absolutely. And yeah, I think it's important because a lot of people don't really know how they want to be loved. If you can't articulate, and in particular, our coaching program is for women. And, you know, we have a group coaching program, getrealgetlove.com. And one of the things that we do teach, among others, is that you really have to understand, how you need to be loved so that you can communicate that to men. Because I think men really appreciate that clarity instead of being in your head and wanting somebody to just kind of figure you out. It's just a little bit unreasonable, to do that. Especially if you don't know, because I think a lot of people don't know what they want or need, or and they just kind of go through relationship after relationship expecting to, like, all of a sudden that person shows up, oh, now I know this is what I want. But how about you figure out from within what that is before you get out in the world, and and you kind of waste a lot of time doing that as well.
Yeah, and not to put you on the spot, Jeremiah, but we had this conversation not too long ago, Arlene, Jeremiah and I. It's like a lot of the women that he's come across here lately have been women who don't know what they want. They don't know how to show or express love. And it's very confusing, especially to someone with emotional intelligence. It's like, no, don't change. You're a good person the way you are. These are just women that have not decided what it is that they want in their life yet.
Yeah, I mean, I had a coaching client recently who went on a date, and we got feedback. She said he was great. He fit, like, he ticked off all the boxes. And then she says, but at one point we were, talking, and he told me that he's, interested in marriage and children, and it sort of freaked me out. And I said, you know what? You need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and knowing that anybody that you meet through us is going to be a guy who knows what he wants, and he's going to communicate that. He's not asking you to marry you on the date. He's not asking you to have his kid on the date, but he's being, open and honest with you. And I said, you're probably used to those guys who are going to string you along for 3 months, 6 months, and then you're going to find out that, nope, they don't want marriage. They don't want children. And so I think that's one of the...
They're attracted to that.
Yeah, well, I don't know so much that it's an attraction. It's what's familiar. Because, it's what's familiar, and they don't want it, but yet they keep bringing that back in because that's all they know. And when they see something different, it's really weird and uncomfortable. And so that's one of the things that we talk about when we coach women, is like, just get comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's when you grow. Understand that there are plenty of guys out there that are, like, serious, who will put their cards on the table, and that's what you want.
I agree. And it's really, there's so many tools out there that are available to all of us. I mean, we have everything online nowadays. Take the time to learn about yourself before you put yourself out there. I just think it's so very important to know who you are, what you're looking for, what's important to you, and not so much that you have like this very narrow, tiny little list and you have to check off each box, but know who your insides are, where your heart is, and what is really going to speak to you. And then to be able to learn about other people and what their wants and needs are is only going to extend your chances of a relationship happening or proceeding or going forward, because you've taken the time to learn about human nature, about human behavior, and you figured out, okay, well, this might be his love language. This is how I'm going to communicate to him and see how he responds. And so it's all, to me, it's like, it's very simple. Why do we have these problems? Why are we single anymore? All of that knowledge is available to people, online, in books, through dating coaches and matchmakers. That's what we're all here for. So reach out, ask the questions and ask for help. Don't ever be ashamed to ask for help.
Yeah, and I think, part of it is that when you talk to people and about getting clear of what's important to them, they start going over a laundry list of, looks and height and things like that, as opposed to core values and, what's really important, what's actually going to be your roadmap to a successful relationship. And that's a totally different thing. So I think it's important to have your standards and to put those on the table and to know what's really, really important to you. If it's having children, getting married and all of that, and not be afraid to communicate that. Because
exactly.
If somebody is not interested in that, that's okay. They can move on. It just brings you closer to someone who really is. There's in there. Humor could be very well be another love language, but guys shouldn't be the dancing monkey.
Which I just commented back. I agree, but I think they choose it. I don't think it's one that men put on themselves, or that they put it on themselves. It's not one that we assign to them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think, somebody who's funny, it needs to be authentic. If you're trying to be funny, it usually doesn't come across as funny.
Yes, it does have to come from the authentic place inside of you, for sure. For sure. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys something. Then they need to choose better. Yeah, that could be. That could be. I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys something here in the comments, and it's going to be an email address. Let me type that in. Okay, and the first person to go ahead and send off an email that says me, M-E, you are going to get 30 minutes of free date coaching. So it's info@matchmakergulfcoast.com, and I will be able to see by timestamps who has actually gotten that 30 minutes of free date coaching. And then additionally, if anyone needs to get in touch with myself or Arlene, you can always look on my Miss Matchmaker live site, and there's going to be a ton of ways to reach out to us, whether it's phone numbers. It has Arlene's web address and phone number, I believe. And so if anyone wants to reach out, feel free at any point in time. That's what we're here for.
So if you want, I can match your half hour. If you're only a free half hour as well.
All right, then Arlene, let's go ahead and punch in your info at address.
There we go.
Okay.
That we coach men as well.
Yes, so that is Arlene and mine, both. Actually, Arlene, is it .com or just .com?
Oh,
there?
Just .com, sorry.
Okay, not a problem. Just wanted to clarify that.
Really fast.
You had to one up you, 2.com.
There you go. But yeah, guys, take advantage of that. It's, it's something that we don't take lightly. We enjoy working with people. That's why we do what we do, but we are here to help. And it's not something that we just typically give away at random, but it's basically for you. You've joined us tonight, and we want to say thank you for joining us. And this is your reward. So, if you've got a question, I'm sure somebody's already hit both mine and Arlene's inbox already. But if you've got a question that we don't address here, then feel free to send us an email as well. We've got someone here saying she's got some network errors, but I don't see any from our end here, so it might be your internet connection, dear.
Huh.
You trying to get on the feed?
Yeah, they're on the feed, but they're not getting video or something. I'm not sure. Network errors. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about how to read someone's love language, because to me, I think that one is just so much more important. And Jeremiah, you mentioned giving the compliments on first dates, and you can kind of tell if somebody is words of affirmation through using compliments. And second, you had mentioned I'm sorry, someone's texting me at the same time here. Focus. You had mentioned how you try not to be the touchy-feely kind of guy on first or second dates. So how would you go about looking for someone who is acts of service, or somebody who is quality time? Yeah, I keep putting you on the spot, but you're the single guy, so we're putting it on you.
Acts of service is kind of difficult during the dating phase, unless you count, things like opening doors and holding chairs and stuff. But I do that for everybody, female-wise. So, but you'll definitely get different feedback. Some people are used to having that done for them and expect it, and some people are not used to having it done for them and don't like it being done for them. They're very independent. I don't know if that. What's that?
Who are those people? What's wrong with them?
Feminists. But I don't know if that really represents whether they're acts of service or not, too, though. So I don't know. With that one, it'd be kind of difficult, I guess, in the dating realm, unless you guys were doing something that took like a lot of teamwork, where you're actually able to help each other out.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I think also when you hear when people speak, if they say, actions are louder than words, like comments that people make, then you pick up right away. You're like, oh, okay, this is somebody who's into acts of service, you know?
Yeah, right. That definitely makes sense.
I'm sorry, I was looking at the chat.
It's almost distracting having that over there. I try to remain focused in two places. It's a little distracting.
Yeah.
But no, I think, Jeremiah, I have to agree with you because, when you go on a first date or even a second date, you're spending, what, an hour to 2 hours, maybe 3 hours with that person. So
Right.
It is really hard to gauge exactly what their love language is. But I think the more time you do spend with them, you can kind of look for different clues, and, I'll give you a clue about Jeremiah. We had an event meeting a few weeks back, and early before the meeting, he's like, I'm at Starbucks. Can I bring you something? Well, of course you can, acts of service, Jeremiah. I would love for you to bring me an iced coffee, and thank you. And I think he might have stole that one from Evan, though.
Oh, that's right. He did. No, I didn't, but I just remember that he did that for you as well. Yeah.
yeah, he did. It was sweet. But once you get to know somebody on the level like that, I know Jeremiah, that I know you, Arlene, you can kind of tell what they are. You can kind of get a feeling for it. And really, the best thing is to show your appreciation towards that person as a person by respecting their love language. If you can't figure it out after you've been dating for, I don't know, I'm going to say a month. Would you agree with me, Arlene? A month, you should be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just give them the quiz.
Yeah. I think like Jeremiah said, he did that on a date. I thought that's great for a date idea. Someone you've been seeing for 3 or 4 weeks. Why not take the time to get to know him in that way? And then, gosh, what a great footing that gives you to build on that relationship. Yeah. Can you imagine knowing a month in that person's love language and being able to communicate in that language just for them?
Yeah.
I guess the key is once you know, then you really, you can't, you got to try not to screw it up, because if it's not the same love language that you prefer, you have to resist the urge to want to love people the way you want to be loved. That's the key, because then it's like, okay, well, it's okay if you didn't know, but now you know. Right. Knowledge is.
And I'll give you a really extreme example of it too, Arlene. I don't think I told you this one, but I have a client who is very adverse to physical touch because she has a bad history, of some violent things that had happened in her life. And so one of the things that I do on my client intakes before I take someone on as a client, I do give them the 5 love languages quiz, and I do use that in the matchmaking process. And so when we discussed that event that happened to her, and she explained to me she's not the kind of person that wants someone to grab her hand on a first date or try to kiss her goodnight, I explained to her about the 5 love languages, and I told her, I said, look, how about I do my best to match you with only men that have a very low physical touch score. And her eyes just lit up. She was like, really? And it was just all of these possibilities going through her mind that she could actually feel comfortable around men again. Yeah. And, that's to me is one of the extreme levels in which I can use it as a matchmaker, but it's touching with her, it was just too much.
Great that with your psychology background and the work that your profession as well as matchmaking, it's great that you implement all of that. But what does it mean when a guy has a low physical touch score?
Well, I'm not going to say that it's a negative thing, Arlene.
I'm kidding.
By any means. I know you are, but I don't view it as anything that's negative, because I think all of these things are positive. They're not put on you as a category per se. They're put on you as a way to help communicate. Yeah. Would be the right word. It's the way to express yourself, how you express yourself, how to communicate with others. And so don't look at them as labels is right. I guess what I'm trying to say is don't look at them as labels, but more as a tool a tool that can help you tremendously in building and encouraging and strengthening all kinds of relationships, not just dating.
Yeah, and I would, just to kind of backtrack on my attempt at being funny, the physical love language, the being touched and stuff like that. What it means, though, if they have a low score like that, doesn't mean that they don't enjoy intimacy and sex. It just means that doesn't necessarily mean that they feel like they're being loved. That is not necessarily, there's got to be something else that's more important, like being told that, like maybe that person wants to be told that you love them. It's not just the intimacy, or maybe, you have to show your love in other ways, not just the physical touch, to really convey that you love that person. So, to your point, I was trying to be funny, but yeah, these are definitely not labels, and this is just what's helping you to understand how people feel loved. So it's really, I think it's fascinating, and I agree with it wholeheartedly. And what did that come out, like 20 years ago? How long ago did the love?
Well, I know he did 20 years in private practice doing marriage counseling. Which one do you have in front of you, Jeremiah?
It don't look like it's 20 years old.
Yeah.
When was it first published? I'm just curious. I have the book somewhere as well, but I just find it fascinating that somebody could synthesize so much information, these 5 key things. It's brilliant.
I see it. I see it. And
90. It says it was published in 92, actually.
Okay.
92. Okay, so yeah, that's
a long time.
Yeah, but I can definitely see where he was coming from and how he accumulated that knowledge after 20 years of being a marriage counselor. Absolutely. And it kind of leads into my big reveal tonight, which I've been just so excited to talk about and tell everyone about. For everyone who's local, we are going to be celebrating my 20th year in the business of love.
Nice.
And it's going to be a gala event on February 26th. Black tie optional, but dressed to impress. And it is going to be benefiting a charity that is called, let's see, where is this? Because I know they're called by 2 different names, but it's Camp MASH. And it is for children with rheumatoid arthritis. And what they do is they bring all of these children with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis together 1 year out of the month in June. And they have all these great camp activities that they can actually physically do. And there's doctors right on the facility. And it's just a really great place for them to have what they call the best week of the year.
Yeah.
And the reason why I chose that charity is because I actually grew up with that myself. And so I wanted to do something that was close to my heart, and that truly is. And at some point, Jeremiah, I want to see if you want to go with me in June, because I think I might go as a counselor this year.
Oh, in June?
Yeah.
Yeah, give me the details on it. That'd be
absolutely. We'll talk about that more. But as far as the event is concerned, we are going to be holding it. Ron Green has offered us to use the Sky Room over at the Beach House in Sandestin. And we're going to have a photographer there. We're going to do a bachelor and bachelorette auctions. We're going to have a photo booth. We're going to have a DJ and music, and just going to be a fabulous event. I'm so excited. So I've been dying to share that with everyone. I got the thumbs up today from Ron. We've got the venue. We've got the event planners. Of course, Jeremiah, my top one. Alicia, who had some difficulties, who could not be on tonight. Sue, I'm thinking, is probably working tonight, Jeremiah.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, and I'm not sure where Hyla is tonight, but my whole crew, we've gotten everything put together, and announcement, it is official. You can check out all of the details on my website, which is missmatchmakerlive.com. Also, if you are joining us directly from my website, please take notice. There is a little red bar where you can submit your profile. If you would like to participate as one of the bachelors or bachelorettes for the event, feel free to submit your profile to me and put a little note in the qualities or something saying that you're interested in participating in the auction. So we're going to be looking for some people who are got some guts and courage and want to get up there on stage and be vulnerable. But it's all for a good cause and one that I truly believe in. So hopefully everyone can attend that is here on a local basis. And if you are not local, you can still go to the event page. There is a box where you can actually make financial donations directly to the camp. So if you can't be there, please make a donation and touch my heart.
That's great.
Yeah, so super excited we got that one out. Cannot wait for February 26th. Absolutely. Well, Arlene, let's go ahead and wrap this up. I know it's a little bit early, but I've got a young and I have to go feed and things going on in my household behind closed doors here. So I don't want to take up everyone's time. I was hoping we wouldn't go way too over, but I did want to make that announcement. Congratulations to whichever one got the first emails in with your 30 minutes of free date coaching. Check us out, of course, at Miss Matchmaker Live. Replays are available for at least the next 5 days. And Arlene, I believe you keep yours on available too.
Yes.
Okay. And then can you go ahead and type in your website one more time for us in case anyone wants to take a look at your website?
Yeah, by all means, reach out, and I'm looking forward to getting that person who wants the free coaching, and it will be 100% 30 minutes of coaching, no sales, no nothing, just straight on coaching. And if you are interested in finding out more about our company, go to abconnections.com. That's abconnextions.com, and we're going to be launching our women's group coaching program in March, and you'll find details on that at getreallove.com. I'll type that in as well. And I'm really thankful that you invited me to be part of this lab. I think it's such a fun experience, and especially talking to two people who are really smart and the high emotional quotient.
Oh, Arlene, thank you so much for being here with us. And Jeremiah, of course, always my gracious co-host, has plenty of things to add. So you guys can follow us on Blab. You can always subscribe to upcoming events, both local and the web series. And hopefully everyone has a fabulous night, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, Arlene. Thanks, Jeremiah.